Hi guys and welcome to U-Wrench. We're working on the Dodge Grand Caravan 2008 through 2020 with a 3.6 V6, the same engine that's also fitted in the Chrysler Town Country. And today we're going to be showing you how to do an oil change including oil filter. Let's get stuck in. So a couple of basic things that you're going to need to be able to perform your oil service. Most important of which, of course, is your oil. The Grand Caravan 3.6 V6 takes 5W20 oil, and the capacity is 5.6 litres. Which is quite annoying because these usually come in 5 litre tubs, so we've had to buy two of these today because they're only 5 litres. You need 5.6. Again, always try and get the best quality oil that you can. If you can afford it, go with one of the big name brands. Good quality oil will help prevent wear and tear on your car, so get the best that you can. Same with your oil filter, get the best one that your budget will allow, and just make sure obviously it's the correct one for your vehicle. It's a very, very common engine, these, so you shouldn't have any problems whatsoever getting the correct one for your car. The other thing, which is completely optional, is we're also going to be replacing the oil drain plug. This is not essential. You should always replace the copper washer that goes around. It should be replaced every time because they do actually form. So you have any kind of imperfections, that metal will have formed and taken on those imperfections. So you don't really want to use the same gasket each time. These are probably $4. Maybe $5, so it's just as easy to get one of these whilst you're getting your filter, and just replace it with a nice brand new one. Lasts you probably another 10 years. So there you go, guys. Make sure you've got everything, make sure you're happy, and then we can start the process. So first things first, before we touch the oil filter or start draining any of the oil, you have to get the car up to its full running temperature. So what we're going to do is take it for a quick drive around the block, just 5-10 minutes will do it. You just want your temperature needle sat bang in the middle, or alternatively just leave it idling for kind of 10 to 15 minutes just till that temperature's built up. But you really want to drain the oil nice and warm, never drain it cold. So that's the first thing you do, get the engine up to working temperature. So before we actually drain the oil, we're going to be following the Dodge Workshop manual, doing it step for step. First thing we need to do is slacken off the oil filter cap right here. Now access to the oil filter is somewhat limited because we have this big air pipe directly in the way above it. So you can kind of wrestle it out, but it's much easier, and it only takes a couple of minutes just to remove this air pipe here. So what we'll do is we'll get rid of this, and that gives all the access that we need, and we're going to slacken this off to allow the airflow into it before we release the drain plug on the bottom of the car. So just to give us maximum access, we'll just pop the engine cover off and pop that out of the way. So next we've got this air line on the back of the airbox right here. Give that a bit of a wobble and that will pop off. So next just start to loosen off the hose clip at the rear there. And just make sure that's got plenty of slack. Now just start to remove the hose, just so you've broken the joint. Like so, a good place to start is that little cutout just at the top there. That's as far as you need to take it. And then just release the 3 clips. Dot around the side of the airbox. Lift up the front of the airbox. There's 3 tabs in across the back there, and just draw the whole thing forward and get that out of the way, put that to one side. So as we can see, we've now got all the access we need, so now we can get stuck in on the cap here. So I'm just going to give the cap just a quick wipe over, just to get rid of any bits of dirt or grit. I don't want them falling in there. Just make sure it's nice and clean before we get stuck in. So the next thing I'm going to do is just put a little bit of blue paper just around the base of it, just to help catch any drips when we pull the old filter out. And you can undo these with either a 24mm or 15/16. There's your old filter and your oil cap right there. So now we're ready to drain the old oil from the car. Now obviously to do that we're going to need to jack up the front of the car. We're using the lift because we have one. Obviously you probably haven't got one at home, so you're going to jack up the front of the car, get some axle stands under there, make sure that you're safe, make sure that your handbrake is on so that the car can't roll away from you. Safety should be first to allow you to come underneath the car so we can remove the drain pan and get the old oil draining. One important thing to note is once your oil has started to drain and you've got your oil pan in the correct position, when you get towards the end of the process, what you're going to want to do is lower the car back down, so obviously your car will be pointing up in the air, so all of the oil will be running towards the back of the engine. So you need to get that car level again to allow all of the oil to drain from the system. So that's one thing to bear in mind. You're going to jack it up, release the oil drain plug, but then you're going to have to put it back down temporarily to get the maximum amount of oil drained out of the system. So you're going to want to remove your plastic engine under tray if you haven't done that already. That's just held in with a series of screws around the outside. Just follow those screws around, just drop that down, get it out of the way. Then you're going to want to locate your oil drain plug. Here's the old one. As we can see, it's a little bit worse for wear, which is why I'm replacing with a brand new one today. But you can see the exhaust comes down here, splits into two, and this is exactly where this is located. So you want to make sure that your drain pan is ready, and it needs to be at least a volume of 5.6, because you're probably going to get close to that coming out of this vehicle. So now grab yourself a size 13 socket. Now this one's a little bit stubborn. I think he's rusted in a little bit, so I'm going to get a little bit of penetrating oil. The one I'm using today is Liquid Wrench. There's dozens of different brands. I'm just going to put a little bit of that on there. I'm just going to give that a couple of minutes to soak in, and I'll try cracking it off again. So now what you want to do is just give that a few minutes to drain out. It's probably going to take at least 5-6 minutes. You want to just leave that until it's slowed down to a slow drip. The longer you leave it, the better, really. So, yeah, let's give it 10 minutes. So, just another quick note for you. Looking at the drain plug, this is the copper ring, copper gasket that sits in there. And the reason that this should be replaced every time, if you're not replacing the whole drain plug, as we will be, but this needs to be replaced every time. So, if you look at it, you've got all kind of scratches and grooves and all sorts of kind of little nicks in it, and the reason being is that copper obviously is a very soft metal, and so when you clamp that back, when you put that in and you clamp that between the pan and the head of the bolt, this will actually take on the shape of any faults that are in the metal. So if it has like a scratch in the metal, this will actually form itself a little bit because it's so soft, and actually form to whatever kind of defects are present on either the head or on the pan. That's why you see all these scrapes and scratches and little mini gouges and all the rest of it that are on it. So if you just take that again and just went to fit that straight back in, obviously it's not going to be in the exact same position when you put it back in, and so all those imperfections that are already stamped into the face of this washer could, and often do, it's happened to me, cause a slow oil leak, an oil drip. So even if you're not changing this, you always must make sure that you're changing the gasket every time. So to remove your old filter, just grab hold of it, give it a bit of a twist and a pull, it just snaps in at the end, and you can go ahead and get rid of that. So next, grab your new filter, and your filter should come with a brand new O-ring, so we'll get that fitted, and of course the new filter as well. So if you look on the filter here, you've actually got this the old O-ring right here. And if you follow along, they've normally got a little cutout. You can see just in there, hopefully you can see that all right on the camera, there's a little cutout that allow you to get a little hook tool or a spike tool in there just underneath the O-ring, and that allow you to start working it out of situ. There it comes. get that out of the way. Next, I'll just give this a quick clean up, just get rid of some of the old dirty oil. So next, grab your brand new oil, and you just need a tiny little bit in the cap, like so. Take your new washer, and what we're going to do is we're going to use the oil to create a wet seal. You never want to put these on bone dry. Two reasons: A, it has very little lubrication when you're screwing this into the actual body, when this cap screws back into situ, and when this has a wet seal rather than a dry one, it'll actually create a much better seal. So what we want to do is use your nice fresh engine oil, and just make sure you give it a good coating all the way around this gasket. Don't leave any dry spots. And then you want to work the new gasket carefully into place. Can be quite tight. I think that's the whole point of them. And then just roll it up the body, and you want to get it into that final slot where you just removed the original one from. There it is. So you can see that's sat in that groove. As you spin it around nicely all the way, I'm just going to give it one more little wipe over with the new oil. So that is that part of it. The new O-ring is good to go. So now take your new filter and press it into the lid, and it should snap into place. There we go. So next I'm just going to give it a bit of a clean, and now the flow of oil's slowed down. Obviously you don't want to spray your degreaser straight onto that, because you're going to put it into the sump. So I'm just going to spray it onto my cloth. And I'm just going to give this a bit of a clean up. So next up, you're going to want to grab a torque wrench. So we're going to be torquing this up to the factory specification. So just start it by hand. First of all, make sure that nothing's cross-threading. And again, just going to clean up any drips of oil, so that when I come to check this tomorrow or in a couple of days, if there have been any oil leaks from here, I can spot them immediately. I'm not going to get them confused with any old leaks. So next we're going to replace the oil filter. And note, as per the Dodge workshop manual, it's not necessary to pre-oil the oil filter or the oil filter housing. You can put that together exactly as we have done here, dry. So next we're going to grab our torque wrench again. We're going to torque this up to the factory spec. As you can see, 25 newton meters. 25 newton meters is 18 foot-pounds. So again, I'm just going to give the oil filler cap a bit of a clean up just before we open that up. Again, to help ensure we don't get any contaminants in our nice fresh engine oil. So just pop your oil filler cap to one side, replace that with a funnel. So just a quick reminder that the fill capacity for this car is 5.6 litres. So, I mean, you never get every single drip of oil out, but we're going to have got most of it out. So we're probably going to want to start checking the levels as we get kind of over 4.5 to 4 3/4 litres, something like that. So keep pouring this in. This is a 5 litre container, so I'm going to put almost all of this in. I'll probably leave between half and a quarter of a litre in the bottom of this, and then I'll start to do my checks on the oil level using the dipstick. Okay, so I've put about 4 3/4 litres in, and it's just bringing it up to the kind of the bottom of the safe marker there. So what we're going to do now, as per the Dodge workshop manual, we're going to start the car, leave the car running for 2 to 3 minutes, just to help the oil start circulating around the system, and then we're going to check the level again and top off as required. Now before we go ahead and start the car up, what we want to do is obviously replace our air pipe so that the car's breathing normally again. And we've completely finished here down in this section down here, so we might as well just go ahead, put that back on, and then we can start the car and fine tune our oil level. So just make sure that your air filter is still seated correctly. You don't want a bit of it kind of sat up on the lip. You want to make sure it's in all the way around because you don't want to pinch anything. And then remember, you've got these 3 little tabs at the back, and they slot into these 3 little slots here. So you want to angle it. And then push the front down. Again, just have a look around it, make sure that you haven't pinched your air filter. And if you're looking good, just reattach your three clamps. So now we need to reattach the air hose. Make sure it feels flush all the way around, including at the bottom. And then once you're happy, we can tighten the clamp back up, and that's job done. And of course, don't forget to reattach your little air bleeder hose here. So now I've had the engine running for 4 or 5 minutes. As per the Dodge workshop manual, we're going to check the level again and fine tune as required. Yeah, so you can see we've actually dropped the level a little bit. We're just about there now, whereas before we were just about there. So yeah, we've dropped 5 or 6 millimeters, I guess, on there. So I'm just going to continue to put that up. So I think we're going to get close to the 5.6 on this. So now I'm just going to top it up, and we'll see how much we use. So we're at exactly 5 litres now. We can see we're just back to the mark where we were. So I think we can safely put that 0.6 of a litre back. That's going to take us up to probably around where the A is, bang on the centre of the safe mark there. So we'll do that right now. Yeah, so there we are. Hopefully you can see that. That is bang on. It's absolutely bang on the centre of the S safe. So that is your 5.6 litre oil change. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this video useful. If so, please be sure to hit the like button before you go. And if you'd like to support us, please also be sure to hit the subscribe button. Thanks again. Hope it's useful, and we'll see you again in the future.